Welcome, everybody, to our weekly segment of Games with Grandma, where we ask Grandma some of the questions that you submitted. In interest of knowing more about Grandma, we'll ask some of the questions. They may or may not be in a chronological order, the questions we go through, but there'll be just 15-minute segments, maybe once a week, and we'll share them on YouTube and Facebook so that you guys can enjoy them. If you have any new questions, or if the video that you're watching reminds you of a question that you might want to ask, you can email them to me or send them to me by text or on Facebook, and we'll get those questions inserted into these weekly segments. So without further ado, I give you Grandma Bliss Baldwin Johnson. Say hey, Grandma.
Hi, Mark.
All right. Okay, so these questions, Grandma, were collected by all of your kids and some of your grandchildren contributed as well. Just asking questions about you, things that you probably have already talked about, but
Everybody probably knows everything.
probably, but it's a good opportunity for us to actually document with our sophisticated equipment here. We have a little underwater camera and a solo cup. So, anyways, first off, tell us about your birth, location, date, circumstances, any interesting stories that we should know about that.
I was born about 3 miles from a small town in South Dakota called Nisland. And my folks lived on a farm kind of on top of a hill, which is not there anymore because they've removed it so they could put a highway through there. And I was born
the hill
at
or
home.
the town?
The hill.
The hill. Okay.
I was born at home, and I was born just after midnight, I understand, on the 23rd of December. And that's about all I know about when I was born.
Not a lot of memories then?
No, I don't have many memories of that.
Okay. Is there any backstory to your name? Who were you named after? Any history of that you know that they told you?
No, I asked Mom once, and she just said that she made it up, but she had a cousin named Vera that she liked real well, and my grandmother's name was Cora, so I think she kind of mixed those together.
Vera and
Made Viora.
Very good. Any nicknames that you had in your life?
Yeah. When I was a little kid, they used to call me Basketball Belly because I had a big belly. And,
Like how little?
well, probably till I was 3 or 4.
Okay.
And then after Bill and I were married, we went home the first time, and well, it wasn't the first time, but we went home just about when I was about 7 months pregnant, and my brother was there, and he said, "Well, hi, Pee-wee," and my husband said, "Pee-wee?" He said, "That's what we used to call her." But he said, when she was little, we used to call her Basketball Belly. And just then I took my coat off, and he saw that I was pregnant, and he turned so red. It was funny.
Which brother was it that asked you that?
My brother Elwood, that we always called Bob.
Bob. Any other nicknames? No?
Yeah, V.
V. I think we all know V.
My workers that I worked with in Denver during the war shortened it to V because it was a harder name to remember.
And what did Grandpa call you?
Honey?
Honey? Nothing else too unique or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
No. What did you call him?
Honey?
Honey? Okay.
Bill?
Bill? You guys were really creative. Okay, so what is your earliest memory? We know you didn't remember being born, but what was your earliest memory that you can remember?
One of my earliest memories was we lived in a farmhouse just up on top of the hill above Grandpa Baldwin. And we had a cousin, an aunt and uncle and cousins that lived in another house on the same farm. And we had a wooden walk between the houses. And one day I went out there, I was just a little girl, and I remembered seeing my aunt sweep that by sweeping one way and then the other. And I just, as a little kid, I thought, she's just sweeping the dirt back on there. I didn't realize how you can get a sidewalk clean by sweeping both ways.
How old were you?
I was probably 3.5 or 4.
That's an interesting first memory.
It is.
Did it ever affect how you swept?
I don't think I ever thought about it when I was sweeping,
You know, one of my
but I did think about it.
not that this is about me, but one of my early memories about my dad was him teaching me how to sweep the right way. And not to do what you were just saying. But of course, it wasn't on a sidewalk, it was in a garage where you weren't sweeping it
Yeah.
off to the side, you were sweeping it everywhere. So anyways, okay.
Then about the next memory I remember is going to my step-grandmother's funeral. And my mother's stepfather and her cousin drove out from the eastern part of the state and picked us up. And they had a rumble seat in their car. And we drove in that car, and I was sitting in the front seat, and they were both smoking, and I got sick, so we stopped, and my sister got in the front seat, and I got in the back rumble seat with my mother. And we were driving at night, and I remember going through the Badlands, and Mom told me that was the Badlands, and I was really scared because I thought the Badlands meant there were lions and tigers there.
It was a bad place.
Yeah, it's a bad place.
How far were the Badlands from where you grew up?
About 90 miles.
About 90 miles.
Probably, yeah, maybe 100 miles.
Where were you living when the Depression hit?
We lived on one side of Vail for 2 years, and then moved to the other side of Vail, and then we moved back to that side again, even in the same house, and lived there 2 years, and we moved to another place. We used to move every 2 years.
Any
And
particular
I was
reason?
growing up, and it was always on one side of Vail or the other side. And Vail is a little town where I went to high school and grade school.
Was it just for work or just?
Well, it was during the Depression, and I think he thought he could get a better crop on one land than he did on the other, in the farms.
Gotcha.
So,
What was it like growing up in the Depression? How old were you when it hit and set in, and then what was it like? What do you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember too much about it bothering us much because we always had food. We never worried about food. But my dad went to work with the WPA, Work Project Association or something like that, I think it stands for. And so a lot of the people that didn't have jobs and their farms were not producing, he went to work for them for a while. And they